And he's working on some of us, trying to get us to stay there. Guess I ain't gonna ever come out of this. I guess it just ain't for me to do any better. I guess I may as well accept this failure in my life. It's just a baby crying. She's all right. Maybe this is the will of the Lord for my life. For me to always be pitiful and broke and disgusted. So I'll just stay right here. Pray the Lord. Pray the Lord. And the enemy says, that's just where I want you. Now I can do like I want to do to you. But as bad as it looks, I'm encouraged. Thank you for them 5 amens. I don't know where the rest of y'all at, but as bad as it looks, woo! Watch it, watch it. This is how these spirits, let's look at where David and his men were headed if they had not taken upon themselves a different mindset. Can I read the Bible for a few minutes? Oh, Lord, help me here. The Bible says, and it came to pass when David and his men would come to Ziklag on the 3rd day that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag and smitten Ziklag and burned it with fire. Ziklag was David's home at that present time. Hello, fire folk. That's where his wives and his children, abode. That's where they stayed. That's where they lived. The men that were with him, his wives and his children, their wives and their children lived. This was their home. And they had been off fighting the enemy. And when they came home, their homes were burned. Their whole town was burned. And their wives and their children were gone. Lord have mercy. Can you imagine the shock? Oh, what has happened? What is going on? Where's my wife? Where are my children? Who did this? And at that moment, the enemy began working on them. Because it looked bad, Helen. It was looking bad. It was looking hopeless. Oh, I wish I was a preacher in this place today. Verse 2, and had taken the women captives. The Amalekites had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any. They didn't kill them, either great or small, but they took them away. And then they went on, they moved on. Y'all ain't getting this. See, the enemy does his stuff, and he ain't sitting there crying over you and mourning over you and saying, oh, I hope you get better. The enemy does what he does, and he moves on. It's only us that can't move on without praising and shouting and dancing and worshiping and God loving self. Can I preach? Too many of us got this praise that's a pseudo praise. Stop praising. If you can't move on in the midst of your praise, shut up. I'm praising and I'm going back to what I'm supposed to be delivered from. My praise supposed to get me out of this, and I can't get through it with a praise. Leave the praise alone if you don't want to come out of it. The Bible says they did what they did and they moved on. Tell your neighbor he's almost finished. Y'all ain't said a word. Verse 3, so David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives, their sons, their daughters were taken captives. Verse 4, some of us have been here. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept till they had no more strength, no more ability, no more power to weep. The tears were gone. They had used all of them up. I can't cry anymore. Some of y'all been in it so long, you can't find another tear to shed over this issue. Lord, I've been crying so long about this. I can't cry anymore, but I'm not out of it yet. I just can't cry no more. I want to be out of it, but I'm not out of it, and I can't cry anymore. I got no more power to cry. Why? Because my crying didn't change a thing.
That's right.
I really want y'all to tell somebody he's going to preach next week. Tell him he's going to really preach next week. And some of y'all been crying and crying and crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. And when you finish crying, nothing has changed, because your crying didn't change your mind. It didn't change the way you perceive the issue. It didn't shift your mind. Can I preach to five folk? All crying did was added to your sorrow. It invited more folk to your pity party. And for most folk, that's the reason they cry. I just don't. What's the matter, baby? What's the matter? That's what I was waiting for somebody to ask me. What's the matter? And then next week, you're the same way. You ain't got to like me. It's the truth anyhow. And then next week, you're the same way. And then next week, you're the same way. All your crying is doing is adding more folk to your pity party. So they're going to get on the phone and say, you know, I talked with Brother Mojo today, and he told me what. I talked to Sister Sarah Lee today, and she told me what was going on. And now we're going to get on the phone and call somebody else. And ain't nobody praying. Ain't nobody talking to God. Everybody crying. Hello? David and all of his men, grown men, warriors, killers by training, crying till they had no more strength to cry. All the tears were gone. Oh, Lord, help me, Jesus. Help me, Jesus. I don't think nobody getting this, Lord. I don't think nobody getting this. When they saw their wives and children were gone, it shocked them and it caused discouragement to set in quickly. Hello, five folk. And these